Lightning crackled through the air. Mace Windu's body flew backward through the shattered window, tumbling toward the Coruscant streets thousands of feet below. But Mace Windu was not a typical Jedi Master. As wind roared past him, as his body spun through open air, Mace reached into the Force with everything he had. Not with peace. Not with serenity. With raw, furious will to survive. The dark side answered, not to consume him, but because Mace understood it. His Vaapad fighting style had always walked the razor's edge between light and dark, channeling aggression without succumbing to it. Now, in his moment of greatest need, that connection saved his life. Mace slowed his fall with the Force, redirecting momentum, crashing through an advertising hologram and into the loading platform of a cargo speeder. Bones broke. Blood spilled. Pain exploded through his body. But he was alive. The speeder's pilot, a Rodian smuggler, screamed and swerved. Mace rolled off the platform before the driver could alert authorities. He fell another 20 feet onto a lower traffic lane, landed hard, and dragged himself into the shadows of an underworld maintenance tunnel. For 3 days he hid there, healing what he could with the Force, listening to news broadcasts on a stolen comlink. And what he heard destroyed him. The Jedi Temple was burning. The Republic had become an empire. Anakin Skywalker, his failure, had slaughtered younglings and become Darth Vader. Order 66 had turned the clone army against the Jedi. Masters he'd known for decades were dead. Yoda had fled. Obi-Wan had disappeared. The Jedi Order was gone. Mace sat in that dark tunnel, rage and grief warring inside him. Every instinct screamed to march back to the Senate, to confront Palpatine, Darth Sidious, and finish what he'd started. But he'd lose. Wounded. Alone. Against the full might of the Empire. No. Mace Windu was many things, but he was not foolish. If he was the last Jedi Master standing, then he had a responsibility. Not to die in a blaze of glory, but to survive. To wait. To prepare. And when the time came to strike, he stole Imperial medical supplies, forged identity documents, changed his appearance, shaved his head smooth and grew a beard, bought passage on a transport heading to the Outer Rim. For 19 years, Mace Windu became a shadow, a wandering warrior, a ghost haunting the edges of the galaxy, watching, waiting, learning. Until one day, on a desert planet called Tatooine, the Force whispered a name he thought he'd never hear again. Skywalker. Tatooine. The galaxy's armpit. 2 suns, endless sand, and nothing worth caring about. Except there was something here. Mace had felt it in the Force, a presence, young and powerful, burning like a star in the desert darkness. It had called to him across light years, impossible to ignore. He'd come expecting a hidden Jedi survivor. A Padawan who'd escaped Order 66. What he found was worse. From a ridge overlooking the Lars moisture farm, Mace watched through macro binoculars as a young man worked on a moisture vaporator. Blonde hair, blue eyes, lean build, and a face Mace knew better than his own nightmares. Anakin Skywalker's face. Mace's hand tightened on the binoculars. Impossible. Padme died. The child died with her. The Emperor said, but the Emperor lied. That's what Sith Lords did. Mace extended his senses into the Force, touching the young man's presence carefully. The power there was staggering. Raw. Untrained. Like a sun that didn't know it was burning. Force help us, Mace whispered. Anakin had a son. For 3 days, he watched the farm. Learned the boy's name, Luke. Watched him dream of something more than moisture farming. Saw the restlessness, the longing for adventure, the hunger for purpose. Mace saw Anakin in every gesture, and it terrified him. On the 4th night, Mace made his approach. He waited until Luke was alone, working late on a speeder repair. Stepped out of the shadows like a ghost. Luke Skywalker, Mace said, his voice like gravel. Luke spun, hand going for a wrench. Who are you? How do you know my name? Mace studied him. So young, so powerful, so dangerous. My name is Mace Windu. I knew your father. Luke's eyes widened. My father? Uncle Owen said he was a navigator on a spice freighter. Your uncle lied, Mace interrupted. Your father was a Jedi Knight, one of the greatest warriors the Order ever produced. He paused, before he fell to the dark side and became Darth Vader. The color drained from Luke's face. That's not possible. Vader is a monster. Yes, Mace said coldly. He is. and his blood runs through your veins. Luke stumbled backward, shaking his head. No, you're lying. I'm the only person in this galaxy who can teach you to control the power inside you, Mace said. Before it controls you, before you become what your father became. Luke stared at him, terror and hope warring in his eyes. The Force is strong with you, Luke Skywalker, Mace continued. Stronger than it was with Anakin. You could become the greatest Jedi who ever lived, or the worst Sith Lord the galaxy has ever seen. He extended his hand. The choice is yours. Come with me and learn to master your power, or stay here and let it destroy you, and everyone you love. Luke looked at the offered hand, at the strange, intense man offering him everything he'd dreamed of, and everything he feared. I'll come, Luke whispered. Mace Windu smiled. It was not a kind smile. The training began at dawn on a nameless moon. No meditation, no philosophy, no gentle guidance, just pain. Again, Mace commanded, standing with arms crossed as Luke struggled to his feet. Luke wiped blood from his lip. His body ached from a dozen impacts. His lightsaber, a training saber Mace had given him, felt heavy in his trembling hand. I can't, again. Mace's voice cracked like a whip. Luke attacked. Mace disarmed him in 2 moves, swept his legs, and sent him crashing to the ground. Again. You're weak, Mace said flatly. Your father was weak. That's why he fell. Weakness is death, Luke. The Empire doesn't care about your feelings. Vader won't hesitate because you're his son. If you want to survive, you need to be harder. Luke pushed himself up, rage building in his chest. I'm trying. Trying isn't enough. Mace stepped closer, his presence oppressive. Feel that anger? That's power. That's the fuel you need. The Jedi of the Old Republic were fools. They taught suppression, denial. They told us to ignore our emotions. And look where it got them, extinct. I thought Jedi used the light side, Luke said, confused and hurting. I use the Force, Mace corrected. All of it. Light. Dark. The space between. That's what Vaapad is, walking the edge. Taking the darkness and turning it against itself. Your father never understood that. He drowned in the dark side. But you. Mace's eyes gleamed. You can be different. You can be what he should have been. The training continued for months. Luke learned to fight with lightsaber forms most Jedi never mastered. Learned to channel his anger without losing himself to it. Learned to strike first, strike hard, and never show mercy to enemies of the light. But the line between enemy and person grew thinner every day. Good, Mace said after Luke disarmed him for the first time. You're learning. Feel that power? That's who you really are. Luke looked at his hands. They were shaking. Not from exhaustion. From excitement. He'd enjoyed that fight. Enjoyed the violence of it. And that scared him. Master Windu, Luke said quietly. Am I becoming like my father? Mace's expression didn't change. Your father was controlled by his darkness. You will control yours. There's a difference. Is there? Luke whispered. Mace didn't answer. Because deep down, even he wasn't sure anymore. That night, Luke dreamed of standing over faceless enemies, lightsaber raised, fury singing in his veins. And in the dream, he was smiling. Vaapad is not a lightsaber form, Mace explained, his purple blade humming in the dim light of their training chamber. It's a state of mind. You open yourself to the darkness, your opponent's darkness, your own darkness, and you let it flow through you. Channel it. Control it. Turn it into a weapon. Luke stood across from him, his own lightsaber, now his permanent blade, constructed under Mace's harsh guidance, ignited and ready. Blue blade. Pure. But the wielder was not so pure anymore. Show me, Luke said. They clashed. It was beautiful. Terrible. A dance of light and shadow. Mace's purple blade moved like liquid violence. Luke's blue blade answered with equal fury. Every strike carried weight, not just physical but spiritual. The Force itself seemed to scream around them. Luke felt it. The darkness. Not trying to consume him. Trying to empower him. He reached for it, pulled it in, let it sharpen his reflexes, strengthen his strikes, fuel his rage. And he was winning. Mace saw it. Felt it. His student had surpassed him in speed, if not experience. Luke fought like a storm, relentless, overwhelming, merciless. Their blades locked. They stood face to face, both breathing hard. You've mastered it, Mace said, something like pride in his voice. Vaapad, you've achieved in 2 years what took me decades. Luke didn't smile. I can feel it, Master. The darkness. It's not just a tool anymore. It's part of me. And I like it. Good, Mace said. You should like it. Power isn't something to fear. It's something to wield. But my father, your father was weak, Mace interrupted. He let Palpatine manipulate him. Let love make him stupid. You won't make that mistake. You're stronger than he ever was. Luke wanted to believe that. Tried to believe that. But late at night, when he meditated, he sometimes felt something. A presence in the Force. Distant. Cold. Watching him. And he knew somehow that it was his father. Darth Vader. Master Windu, Luke said carefully. What happens when we finally face the Empire? Face Vader? Mace's face was carved from stone. We kill them. All of them. Vader. Palpatine. Every Imperial officer who participated in the genocide of the Jedi. We bring justice to the galaxy. Justice, Luke repeated. Or revenge. Mace's eyes flashed. Is there a difference? Luke didn't answer. Because deep down, he wasn't sure anymore. And that terrified him more than the darkness ever could. Across the galaxy, on the bridge of the Executor, Darth Vader suddenly stopped mid-sentence. His respirator hissed. His mechanical hand clenched. He'd felt it. A presence in the Force. Powerful. Familiar. Impossible. My son, Vader whispered. What was that, Lord Vader? An officer asked nervously. Vader turned, his mask revealing nothing. Set course for the Outer Rim. I found something that belongs to me. Vader tore through Imperial intelligence files like a man possessed. Every report, every whisper, every rumor of Force-sensitive activity in the Outer Rim. And then he found it. A name. Luke Skywalker. Tatooine. Adopted by Owen Lars. Padme's child. My son. Alive. For 19 years, Palpatine had told him the child died with Padme. 19 years of believing his son was ashes. And now, Admiral, Vader said, his voice deadly calm, I want every resource dedicated to finding Luke Skywalker. Now. Within weeks, reports came flooding in. A young man matching Luke's description had been seen on several Outer Rim worlds. Always with an older companion. Dark-skinned. But a warrior. Vader froze when he saw the security footage. Grainy. Distant. But unmistakable. Mace Windu. He survived. He survived, and he's been hiding in the shadows. And now he has my son. Rage, cold, terrible, absolute, filled Vader. His respirator hissed faster. The Force around him darkened like a storm gathering. Mace Windu, Vader said aloud, savoring the name like poison. You tried to kill my master. You branded me a traitor. You failed to save the Jedi Order. And now you dare to corrupt my son? His hands clenched. Metal creaked. I will find you, Vader promised the empty air. I will take back what's mine, and I will make you watch as I show Luke who his real master should have been. But beneath the rage, beneath the darkness, something else stirred. Something Vader hadn't felt in decades. Fear. Not for himself. For Luke. Because he knew what Mace Windu was. Knew how he trained. Knew his philosophy of walking the edge between light and dark. He's turning my son into a weapon. Just like Palpatine turned me. And Vader realized with terrible clarity that he couldn't let that happen. Not to Luke. Not to his son. For the first time since Mustafar, Darth Vader felt something that resembled paternal instinct. Twisted. Broken. But real. I'm coming, Luke, Vader whispered. And I will save you. Even if I have to kill Mace Windu to do it. On their hidden base, Mace suddenly stiffened. He knows. Vader knows about you. Luke looked up from his meditation. How can you tell? Because I can feel him in the Force. Hunting. And he's coming for us. Luke ignited his lightsaber. The blue blade hummed. Good, Luke said, his voice cold and hard. Let him come. I'm ready. Mace studied his apprentice. Saw the darkness coiling behind his eyes. Saw the rage waiting to be unleashed. And wondered, for the first time, if he'd created something worse than Vader. Yes, Mace said quietly. You are ready. The question is, ready for what? The communication came not through technology, but through the Force. Luke was meditating when he felt it. A presence, massive, dark, cold as the void between stars. But beneath the darkness, something else. Something that felt almost like sadness. Luke. The voice echoed in his mind. Deep. Mechanical. His father's voice. Luke's eyes snapped open. Master Windu. Mace was at his side instantly, lightsaber in hand. What is it? He's in my head. Father. He's speaking to me through the Force. Mace's face hardened. Block him out? It's a Sith technique. He's trying to manipulate. I'm trying to save you. Vader's voice cut through. Mace Windu is lying to you, Luke. He's using you. Training you to be his weapon of revenge against the Empire. Against me. He doesn't care about you. He cares about vengeance. That's not true, Luke said, but even he heard the doubt in his voice. Isn't it? Ask him, Luke. Ask him why he's teaching you Vaapad. Ask him why he's encouraging your anger. He's turning you into what I became. A weapon. A tool. Nothing more. Master? Luke looked at Mace. Is that true? Mace's jaw tightened. I'm training you to be strong. To survive. To fight back against the darkness. Your father is the darkness, Luke. Everything he says is poison. I was like you once, Vader continued. I had a master who told me the Jedi way was the only way. And when I questioned it, when I tried to save the person I loved, they branded me a traitor. Mace Windu tried to kill my master without trial, without mercy. He's no different from the Sith he claims to oppose. You murdered younglings. Luke shouted into the air. You destroyed the Jedi Order. You're a monster. Silence. Then, yes, I am. Because I let rage consume me. Because I let my master use me. Don't make the same mistake, my son. Don't let Mace Windu use you the way Palpatine used me. Luke, Mace said, his voice hard. We don't have time for this. Vader is manipulating you. Trying to weaken you before the battle. You need to shut him out. Now. But Luke stood frozen, torn between two voices. Two paths. His master's call for justice. His father's twisted plea for understanding. There is still good in you, Luke. I can feel it. Don't let hatred define you. Don't become what I became. Master Windu, Luke said slowly. Why are you training me? Is it to help me become a Jedi? Or to help you get revenge? Mace's eyes flashed. Does it matter? The result is the same. The Empire falls. Justice is served. That's not an answer, Luke said. And in that moment, the bond between master and apprentice cracked. Just as Vader's Star Destroyer dropped out of hyperspace above them, the battlefield was a ruined temple on a forgotten moon. Ancient stone. Crumbling pillars. The perfect stage for this final confrontation. 3 lightsabers ignited. Purple. Blue. Red. Mace Windu. Luke Skywalker. Darth Vader. It ends here, Vader, Mace said, his voice like thunder. For the Jedi Order. For the Republic. For every life you've destroyed. You speak of justice, Vader replied, his respirator hissing. But I see only hate. You haven't changed, Mace. You're still the same arrogant fool who tried to execute my master. Your master was a Sith Lord, Mace shot back. He deserved execution. And what about you? Vader gestured to Luke. Turning my son into a weapon? Teaching him to walk the dark side? You're doing exactly what you accused Palpatine of doing to me. Stop! Luke's voice cut through the argument. Both of you stop! They turned to him. Master and father. Light and dark. You're both using me, Luke said, pain in his voice. Master Windu, you wanted someone to help you get revenge. Father, you want to turn me into your apprentice. Neither of you actually care about me. About who I am. About what I want. Luke, Mace started, that's not, isn't it? Luke's eyes blazed. You taught me to use anger. To walk the edge of darkness. You made me into a weapon, Master. Just like you said Palpatine made my father. Vader stepped forward. Then come with me, my son. I can teach you the true power of the Force. Together, we can end this war. Destroy the Emperor. Rule the galaxy as father and... No. Luke ignited his lightsaber, pointing it at both of them. I'm not your weapon, Master Windu. And I'm not your apprentice, Vader. I'm my own person. And I choose neither of your paths. Silence fell. Then Mace attacked. Not Vader. Luke. If you won't fight for the light, Mace snarled, then you're my enemy too. Luke barely blocked the strike. Master, what are you? Vader's blade crashed into Mace's, driving him back. Stay away from my son. And suddenly it was chaos. Three-way combat. Purple, blue, and red blades weaving patterns of light and death. Each fighter caught between enemies, each trying to protect themselves while attacking the others. Luke fought desperately, defending against both master and father. Mace fought with cold fury, trying to destroy Vader and force Luke back to his side. Vader fought with terrible purpose, attempting to kill Mace while avoiding harming Luke. The Force itself screamed. Pillars shattered. Stone exploded. The very ground cracked beneath their feet. And in the heart of the storm, Luke felt it. Felt the darkness calling. Felt the rage building. Felt the temptation to just let go. To unleash everything Mace had taught him. To become the weapon they both wanted. No, Luke thought desperately. There has to be another way. There has to be. Mace's blade found an opening. Drove toward Vader's neck. Luke moved without thinking. His blue blade intercepted the purple one, blocking the killing blow. Mace stared at him in shock. Luke, what are you doing? I'm stopping this, Luke said. No more killing. No more revenge. It ends now. Vader stood, breathing heavily, staring at his son. The son who had just saved his life. Luke, Vader said softly, why? Because this is wrong, Luke said. All of it. The hatred. The violence. The darkness. He looked at Mace. You taught me to fight. To be strong. But you never taught me to be good. He turned to Vader. And you think power is the answer. But power without compassion is just tyranny. Luke deactivated his lightsaber. Both Mace and Vader stared at him in shock. I won't fight anymore, Luke said. Not like this. Not for revenge. Not for power. If you want to kill each other, go ahead. But I won't be part of it. For a long moment, no one moved. Then Mace Windu lowered his blade. You truly are stronger than your father. Vaders respirator hisht. Luke, my son. Luke looked at both of them. I'm not choosing between you. I'm choosing something different. A new path. A better path. There is no better path. Mace shouted. There's only light and dark. Justice and evil. You can't walk between them forever. Maybe not, Luke said quietly. But I have to try. And in that moment, everything changed. The three warriors stood in the ruins, lightsabers dimmed, the Force settling like dust after a storm. Mace Windu looked at his hands. At the purple blade that had walked the edge of darkness for so long. I've become what I hated. Haven't I? Luke stepped closer. You survived, Master. You endured. But somewhere along the way, justice became revenge. And revenge became all you had left. Mace's shoulders sagged. For the first time in decades, the great Jedi Master looked old. The Jedi Order is dead, Luke. I'm the last guardian of that tradition. If I don't fight back, who will? Maybe the Jedi Order needed to die, Luke said gently. Not the people, but the philosophy. The old ways that were so rigid they broke when tested. Master Yoda said the Jedi were guardians of peace, not soldiers. But that's all you became. All my father became. Weapons in someone else's war. Vader stood silent, his mask unreadable. But in the Force, Luke felt something shift. Something crack. Luke, Vader said, his voice softer than Luke had ever heard it. I have done terrible things. Unforgivable things. I cannot come back from that darkness. Maybe not, Luke agreed. But you can stop walking deeper into it. The Emperor is using you. Just like he used everyone. Luke looked his father in the eyes, or where eyes should be behind that mask. You're stronger than him, Father. I can feel it. You don't have to serve him anymore. For a long moment, Vader said nothing. Then, if I betray the Emperor, he will kill you. Let him try, Luke said with a small smile. I've got a pretty good teacher. 2 of them, actually. Mace barked a short laugh. Despite everything, the sound was genuine. So what now? Mace asked. We go our separate ways? Pretend this never happened? No, Luke said. We change the galaxy. Together. Not as Jedi. Not as Sith. But as something new. A balance between light and dark. Between justice and mercy. Between strength and compassion. That's impossible, Vader said. You would have said time travel was impossible a minute ago, Luke countered. The Force is bigger than the Jedi. Bigger than the Sith. Maybe it's time we stopped trying to control it and started listening to it. Mace studied his former student. You're proposing a new order. I'm proposing we stop ordering people around entirely, Luke said. The Jedi failed because they demanded suppression. The Sith fail because they demand domination. I'm suggesting we try freedom. Teaching people to feel their emotions without being controlled by them. To use power without abusing it. To walk the edge without falling. Vaapad, Mace whispered. You're talking about making Vaapad a philosophy, not just a fighting style. Maybe, Luke said. Or maybe I'm just talking about being human. Or Twi'lek. Or whatever species. Accepting that we're complicated. That we can be angry and still good. Afraid and still brave. That we don't have to be perfect to be enough. Vaders respirator hischt. The Emperor will never allow this. Then we stop him, Luke said simply. The three of us. Master Windu, the greatest warrior the Jedi ever produced. Darth Vader, the chosen one. And me, whoever I turn out to be. He looked at both of them. But we do it the right way. No revenge. No tyranny. Just justice. Real justice. Mace and Vader exchanged a glance. Ancient enemies. Connected by a young man who refused to let hatred define him. I'm in, Mace said finally. Force help me, I'm in. But Luke, if your father betrays us, I won't, Vader interrupted. On my son's life, I won't. Luke smiled. Then let's go save the galaxy. And somewhere in the Force, something ancient and powerful stirred. The Chosen One had finally brought balance. Not through destruction, not through domination, but through choice. The choice to be better than the darkness, better than the light. To be whole. The Empire would fall. The Sith would end. The Jedi would evolve. And it all began with a farm boy from Tatooine who dared to say no to both destiny and darkness. Who dared to choose compassion over power. Who dared to believe that even Darth Vader could be saved. And who, in the end, proved that the greatest strength isn't in how hard you can strike, but in knowing when not to.